Hello, everyone, and welcome to Of All Trades with Nolan Robinson, Quarantine Edition. I'm happy that you're all here with me. I'm sitting in my living room again, just spreading some hope, encouragement, and some inspiration during this pandemic. I have a super exciting guest today. You've seen him play Adam Goldberg on ABC's The Goldbergs, the hit sitcom that's now in its 7th season. He also voiced the character of Jeff in Cartoon Network's Clarence. And also, he played Ron Stoppable in Disney Channel's live-action version of Kim Possible, based on the hit animated TV show. And we're so lucky to have him here today. Here is Sean Giambrone.
Hey, everybody. Thanks
Hey,
for having
Sean.
me.
Thanks for coming. I'm so glad we got to meet a little bit earlier, and we'll get to spend the next however or so talking to each other. So just tell everyone who you are, how you're doing. Well, first, how are you holding up during this quarantine?
So far so good. I'm just surrounded by family. We're just hanging out and traveling to the essentials and just watching shows and stuff.
Yeah, what types of shows are you watching? I can guess The Goldbergs, but maybe you don't like watching yourself on television.
Well, I watch all the new episodes of The Goldbergs, but I haven't been catching up on. Every once in a while, I'll go back and watch like season 1 stuff or something like that.
Yeah.
But no, I've actually been trying to knock my movie list down. So watching some Charlie Chaplin, because I never saw that.
Ooh, the classics.
Yeah.
Is it weird? So you said you like to watch, the season 1 episodes. Is it weird to see that little? Because when the show came out, you were, 12 years old?
Well, that's the thing. I was, I think at the time I was 14, but I was playing 12, and I looked like I was 10 or something. So it's weird looking back, and you're just, you see this young kid, and I'm already doing some of the mannerisms I do now. It's weird to see where it started for me and all that. And sometimes it feels good. It's like, dang, I pulled something off there that I didn't think I would have been able to pull off. But yeah, it's definitely weird.
That's amazing. But let's talk about your acting career. So you grew up in Illinois, I think an hour from where I grew up from. And we're actually, and to our audience, we just found out we're actually just 5 days apart. I'm 5 days older than him, which is crazy. But talk a bit about your acting career. Did it start when you were, a young child? Was it something that, the Goldbergs was the first thing that made you really want to become a full-time actor?
Definitely Goldbergs is when I kind of decided, I got really lucky that I could figure out what I wanted to do right when I was doing it. Like, that was really cool. But it kind of was always in my childhood. I was always acting. Similar to the character, actually, we would make home movies, my brother and I. So I made this whole like bounty hunter movie. It's kind of like the original Mandalorian series. But yeah, so we would make movies all the time. And I didn't have too many hobbies. I liked sports, but I don't know about you. Like, I never did like a travel sport or anything like that. So my parents decided, like, hey, how about you try commercials and stuff?
And
that's
when you got bit by the bug, yeah?
Bit by the bug. Well, that and a variety show at my elementary school.
Oh, at your elementary school. Wow, yeah. I think, it's whenever I hear variety show, I think high school, because my high school had a variety show as well. But so, of course, variety show is stage, and, right now you're on TV. Do you ever think you'll make a transition into doing stage stuff, or is screen stuff what you're mostly looking to do in the future?
Well, because you were saying earlier that you're an actor yourself, right?
Yeah, I'm an actor.
So, so you've done stage stuff then too?
Yeah, so most of the acting that I've done has been stage. I only started doing film stuff last year. So it's from like 4th grade all the way up to now in college. Most music theater, I study musical theater. So music theater, straight plays, that's what I've done most in, and you've done most in the other medium.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was funny. There's this kid he popped by to do like a guest spot or something on our show, and he did largely stage stuff. And it was funny just because of his stage work. It sounds so stupid, but the talking and moving, sometimes it throws me off because you got to like for the memorization and everything. And you could just see how unshackled this kid was because he did stage stuff. He just was spinning around and talking, and it just seemed so much more dynamic and everything.
Yeah,
It was really impressive.
Yeah, that's so you did a variety show in elementary school. Did you do any more? Have you ever done a musical, or have you been like, no, I'm not a singer, I'm not a dancer?
Well, my whole household, we love to sing and dance. Like at weddings, we're the group that kind of gets the party rolling. I've kind of gotten somewhat shy, which is weird. So I kind of have to wait for the rest of the group to get going. But yeah, so we're the dancers, and then always around the house we're singing some random song. But I just don't. I'm not sure how if other people want to hear me sing. I'm not that kind of. But I've always been curious with stage stuff and the variety show. How it worked was because it was elementary school. It was very guided by the adults and teachers.
Of course, yeah.
So we had like scripted stuff, like scripted skits that we could do, and so I was a paper. What was actually interesting with the quarantine, I was a toilet paper model. So it wouldn't work now because with the shortage
because there's
or
no
whatever.
Toilet paper. Yeah.
Yeah, but they would wrap my head with toilet paper, and I'd come dancing out to the Bee Gees, and then I'd get, oh, I'm caught, and then I started like grilling the people in the audience. I was supposed to be like the roast master of the night, and I don't know how well it worked, and it definitely benefited that I was just some kids, so then I got more laughs than I probably deserved. But then I really caught the bug there. It was like, oh, attention
like,
and all that.
Yeah, like people are cheering for me. Like, I like this. I want to do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, forever. Which is speaking as an actor, I will say that's what inspired me to do acting. Just hearing the applause and the cheers, and it's like, wow, these people really want to see me perform. Could you talk a bit about? So you've been in the Goldbergs for 7-8 years now. Did you ever imagine being in a process for so long?
No. Going in when I was younger, I was kind of nervous about, like in my head, I was always like, commercials and movies are short term, and I could still go to school. And I almost had this inkling right when the Goldbergs was about to start. I was like, this could go for a while, and this could really change my world. And I was talking, everyone was telling me, like, hey, no, the odds are kind of against you. Like, don't worry too much. But even though I was worried about it, I think this is the greatest gift I could have ever gotten. Like, I love, like I love that whole atmosphere. We were talking earlier how you visited the set and stuff. And just like all those people there, just a lot of them have stuck around. So,
yeah, it was
I
great
love that.
on my end, seeing not only the actors, like I told you earlier that I walked past you, and the actress who played your mom, but I also got to have conversations with the costume designers and the writers, and even for people who watch shows, which I hope all of you at home do. You really only see the actors, but on the set you see everybody, and it really becomes a community and a family. And the Goldbergs is really about family. So can you just talk a bit about the family aspect and dynamic that you've experienced with being on the set for 7 years?
Well, you hit something that I find really, what I love is that because it's like it's a lighthearted comedy, then that's the whole atmosphere on set for the most part, because you don't have to worry about ruining the actor. Like at the end of each episode, there's an act 3 where one character's wrong, one of the other ones, and it ends in a hug.
Yeah.
And they talk, get through some stuff.
I remember Jeff saying he hates the group hugs.
Yeah. They usually only get like one take out of them for some of those. It's just like, I can't do it more than, and it's funny because despite that, he's pretty killer in those act 3s. Like he has some of the most heartwarming, out of all the cast, like him, because his character's so, he's more closed off emotion than some of the other characters. It's kind of like seeing him open up in that act 3 is actually kind of like, oh.
Exactly, yeah.
But with the atmosphere on set, everyone just kind of having fun and all. I kind of forgot what the question was first. My brain kind of
No,
just goes off.
no, it's okay. You answered it perfectly. It was about the family aspect that you've experienced throughout the 7 years that you've been on the show.
Which
Yeah.
which maybe I should touch on more of like the character that plays Pop, the actor that plays Pops, George Siegel. They give tips to their grandkid. He gave me tips coming in.
Sean, could you repeat that? You cut off a little bit.
Oh, geez. So the character Pops is played by George Siegel, and throughout the seasons, and like the first episode, he would give me tips, and we'd have these conversations, and he'd tell me stories just like how a real grandfather would tell his grandkids. And if one of us is having a rough day, the one who plays Beverly, Wendy, she can kind of tell, and she'll kind of start goofing around or trying to talk it out of you and stuff. So just like a mother would, like the roles kind of blend into your real life interactions with these people.
Yeah, that's awesome to have, your actual parents and your actual family, plus your TV parents and your TV family that, give you the energy and fuel that you need just as much as, your normal family would, which is amazing. And I actually it's not my question, but it's a friend of mine's son watches the show, and he's 12 years old. He's obsessed with the 80s. And one of his questions to you was, do you really love the 80s, or are you just acting in the show? And I guess I'll add on to that. How were you able to relate to an era that you didn't grow up in?
Well, as I'm sure like you have access to everything now. So and especially with how popular the 80s is pop culturally, it's kind of easy to get swept up into it and make it feel like it's a part of your decade. So actually going in before the show, my brother and I had a huge John Hughes marathon. Just randomly we had that. And then soon after the show happened, so it's just like, oh, now I got stuff to pull from. And Star Wars really has been my favorite thing from growing up. So, and all the Rockies, we had like a whole movie night growing up with the family. So I know I love the 80s, and the music is really good. And yeah, how about you? How do you feel about the 80s?
Yeah, how do I feel about the 80s? So I love the music. So I'm a dancer.
You're the triple threat.
Yeah, I am. Thank you.
Gosh, dang it. That's touche.
Thank you. Yeah, but there was, so the variety show that I did in my high school called Yamo, we did songs to Whitney Houston and Prince and David Bowie. And this was like around the time that all of them had passed away. And dancing to those songs compared to the songs that came out in our generation, I just felt so good. It was just about dancing and expressiveness and being yourself, and that's one aspect of the 80s that I loved. The fashion, I don't know if I'd be able to survive in that decade. Yeah, but I enjoy the 80s. And actually when the show came out, we were around the same age, and I was a bit confused. I'm like, well, how can I get into this show even though I didn't grow up in this era? But I got attached to it.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
One thing during the press junket that they would always stress is it's the family dynamics can bring the young kids in, and then the pop culture can bring the people that live through it in, and then there's that fun interaction between the people that live through it and the kids to be like, hey, this is what we went through, and that's a fun conversation to have, and which I thought was a cool thing the show could provide.
Yeah, have you had any people come up to you either on the street or, people who visit the set that tell you how much your show has meant to them throughout the years?
Well, yeah, one that surprised me, I was walking around the studio one day, and then this like 6'5", like huge dude that I guess makes these like hip movies and stuff.
Yeah.
He came up to me and it was like, I was you when I, like back in that time period. So watching you like freaks me out. And I was like, how, like I never would have guessed that guy could see him and me, but
Yeah.
like it's pretty cool. And then you walk around the mall, and then I'll get like a hug from
Oh.
this.
Wait,
Like, and I'm
Sean.
like, you were like my kid, and so they just give me a hug.
Wait, Sean, you cut
So,
out again. Who did you get a hug from?
oh, I'd go to the mall, and there'd just be these old ladies, and they'd come give me a hug right off the bat, just because I reminded them of their kids when they were raising, like, during that stage in their life. And,
Yeah.
they, not that I guess they need permission or something. Maybe they should, but no, it's just like their instant familial thing. So, but yeah, it sparks something in people, like the whole. I guess that's what's cool about acting is you can get. It's all about. It's weird. Shouldn't have put it that way, but yeah.
Wait, you cut off again. Can you repeat that one more time? You said acting is all about.
It like taps into people's like their deep down stuff. Like it's just
Exactly.
I can't think of the words, but it's cool.
No, I totally understand what you mean, and I'm glad we get to have a conversation like this, being both of us being actors. And that's the beauty of it. It's about empathy. It's about connecting to people that you may have never met, whose experiences you may have never dealt with yourself, but being able to have empathy for them, which is the crucial aspect that the art is playing right now in this day and age, because everyone's sitting home and watching TV. And I'm glad that, that 6 foot tall, 5-inch man, saw him in you, which is amazing. And could you, segueing a little bit, but also talking about the hope that, actors can give to people in their shows and in their productions. What's some ways that you're trying to stay hopeful during this pandemic?
Well, I gotta say I'm pretty fortunate having my, like, I have some family around, like my grandma, my brother, my parents.
And are
So
you in Los Angeles or somewhere else?
in Los Angeles,
Okay.
which right now it's kind of raining a little bit, but that also helps too. Just having the sun comes out every other day at least. So just but watching the news is really rough. It just brings you back down to like a bedrock. It's just really kind of sad, and then I have some like family friends that have gotten it. Some of that gotten through of it, and some of them are in the heat of it. So I don't know. I guess what helps me is I just hop in and start doing something. I've been trying to learn guitar. I'm trying to get some aspect of music because I'm not the singer, so I'm just trying to learn. And then that is something my brother and I can share because he plays guitar. My grandma's working on do a puzzle with her. So just kind of, it's stuff like that.
Yeah, I did the same. So I play piano, but I don't have a piano in my home. So I've just been looking at music and trying to, practice and get better during my free time. And also just in terms of puzzles, I'm staring at it right now. I have a 1,000-piece Broadway puzzle that I had the best intentions of putting together with my sister, but I got so bored and she just ended up putting it together by herself in like the span of a week. So I applaud you for sticking. Yeah. So I applaud you for sticking with that puzzle with your grandmother. I'm sure she was very happy to put it together with you.
Yeah, it's fun, but yeah, I get there's that moment though in puzzle making. You're just like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. There were multiple times where she was like, no, I think I'm missing pieces. Like, I really think I'm missing pieces. And I said, you have to really try to finish it first. And then you can see if you're missing any pieces, which I guess is a good metaphor for life. It's like, keep working. And, as soon as you reach a point where you're like, oh, no, I really don't think I can move forward, then that's when you reach out to everyone in your life to ask for help. And that got super deep. I didn't mean for it
No,
to.
but wow, well put. No, that sums some stuff up. That's good.
Thank you. Yeah, and so you talked about watching John Hughes movies with your brother. I know this is a very difficult question because I couldn't answer it, but top John Hughes movie in your book?
Um, it is a tough one. Um, Vacation, Weird Science, and Ferris Bueller.
Oh yeah.
But what takes the cake? Oh, you know what? I gotta say, this is a tough one, but I'm gonna go Weird Science right now. Today I'm saying Weird Science. Tomorrow could be Ferris Bueller.
Tomorrow could be Ferris Bueller. But yeah, so how have you been? I'm sure filming the Goldbergs takes a lot of time out of your schedule. So outside of that, what do you do? What is the normal, Sean Giambrone day look like?
Well, lately, like, there's been some times where I get in kind of this voiceover spell, and I get to work on voiceover projects. And I love when that comes up because then I don't have to think about how to fill my schedule. Because then it's just like, oh no, something has to be done, and that's a lot of fun. And there's a great bakery that's right by all the studios, so you can get this like Cuban sandwich after working. So those are highlight days. I love those days. But then average days when that's not happening, I don't know. Well, lately I've been trying to do 100 basketball shots a day.
Whoa.
So I'm waking up, shoot my shots, and then
shoot your shot.
Shoot my shots. And then I try and do something artistic in some form. I love to draw too. Help out around the house. And then I have some friends in town that I'll call up and maybe we'll do something, but I kind of lay low a lot of the time. Yeah.
What's the have you ever made it to 100 shots, or have you just been shy of it, or
Oh no, I've been pretty strict with it. I make 100 shots.
Really? Are they?
But it takes a while.
It takes a while. Okay, are you? My guess was it's just like basket after basket after basket. That's not how it goes, is it?
Oh heck no, no! It's chase the ball all over the place.
Yeah.
But, what about you though? What are you? Well, you're busy with school. And
yeah,
you're doing
I'm busy with school.
The show too.
I'm doing the show. A normal Nolan day, I guess. Let's if we're focusing on like a typical school year, so I'd go to class. Like today, we had classes start yesterday. Everything is remote, of course. I do class throughout the day. I take naps. I'm a huge napper. The provost of Northwestern, who's one of my mentors, tells me that the nap is fundamental. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. I cannot function without a nap. So I try to fit a nap in. I try to... Yeah. What were you saying?
Quick, what's the perfect nap time?
Oh, 2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah, it's crazy because usually when I nap, I set an alarm and my body just naturally wakes up right before the alarm goes off, and the alarm is always 2 hours after I go to bed. So when I wake up, I'm so well rested, and I look at my clock and it's like, oh, the alarm's going to go off in like 1 or 2 minutes. So I've noticed that my body just automatically wakes up after 2 hours, and I feel great. Sometimes I take power naps because I can't fit a 2-hour nap in every day. But that would have to be 20 minutes. If it's over 20, then I wake up groggy and I just can't get out of bed, which is unfortunate for the rest of my day. But yeah, I try to fit in a nap. I try to do homework. It's a huge try. Doesn't happen most of the time. I usually save that till after rehearsal. But then I go to work, and then I leave work to eat a quick dinner. And then from dinner, I go to rehearsal, and rehearsal is like 4 hours a night, 6:30 to 10:30. And then I go home and eat another dinner because it's exerting myself that much in a rehearsal takes a lot of energy. And then I do homework, and then I go to bed. So that's what a normal Nolan day looks like.
Holy cow!
Yeah, it's a lot.
How do you stay up for that? Man.
I don't know. Tuesdays and Thursdays are the worst because I have an acting class at 9 a.m. and most Tuesdays and Thursdays don't end until I get home well after 10:30 p.m. But even when I get home, I have to, of course, eat another dinner and then do more homework. So I'm really not in bed till like 1. So it's, a 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. day, which is insane. But, I've done it for 3 years now. It's working. So and during breaks or during the summer, that's when I'm like, okay, I need to, I just need to rest. Yeah, I've spent the school year just
You've earned it
working
big
and doing
time.
stuff. Yeah, I've earned it. Yeah, so plus I write too, so trying to find just little pockets of time writing in a day is also something that I try to do. But yeah, that's what, a portion of my life looks like. It's crazy, I know.
So do you see yourself as kind of like, are you gonna be? Are you also interested in directing, or are you writer actor, like actor main, writer, but what's your opinion directing?
Yeah, you should be an interviewer. This is great. Yeah, so my top thing is to go into acting. Of course, I want to act both, on the stage. Hopefully, Broadway is, my one of the many steps on my journey, as well as TV and film. But I've also produced my own stuff. I produced a web series last year, and I am producing a short film right now, which is on a hiatus because of everything that's happening in the world. But definitely producing, definitely acting and writing. It's, acting is my go-to, and most of the times I think in the projects that I do, I will either have a hand in writing or producing it. But yes, actor, singing, dancing, acting is really what I want to do, both TV, film, and Broadway. So that's my trajectory.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're just a creator. Like you're.
Yeah, that's what, and a lot of people ask me that same question, but they ask it in a way of, what do you see yourself doing in the future? Because they know I do so much. Um, but my answer is always, I don't think it's a cop out. It's just most times I don't know, because like one day your favorite John Hughes movie is Weird Science, and the next it could be Ferris Bueller. Same with my career. It's, one day I really want to be an actor, and the next day I really want to be a writer. So to answer their questions, I always go, I want to create and I want to inspire. If I'm doing that, then I'm doing exactly what I want to do in life. Yeah. So I gave you a very robust answer, but that's
No, it
usually
was
what I go
concise though,
to.
because at this stage in our lives, like you think about all this stuff, and so you actually kept it concise, because I think about like all that, and I couldn't put that in succinct
Yeah, and I really think
explanation.
it's only because of the people I'm around all the time, and you may feel the same with working with who you work with. So the students at Northwestern, especially well, I will say, to speak for all of them in general, um, they're very fast and quick and open and creative minds, and people who want to work and want to contribute and want to learn. And so I was always just going to be an actor. Like, that was my thing. That's what I wanted to do. If anyone told me any differently, I tell them they're lying. But it was when I got into Northwestern and got to meet the people that spend so many hours with. It was through learning from them and seeing what they do, which informed even more what I wanted to do. Before starting college, I didn't want to produce at all. I thought producing was such a strenuous job. And I said, they don't get to be on the stage, because I really like to be, on the stage. And it's very thankless work. But when I started at Northwestern and started doing production stuff, I realized that everything I thought about producing, for example, was wrong, and that it fulfilled me and enriched me so much. So to anyone watching this, especially those who may be younger than college age, it's I like to say, be a sponge, be willing to absorb everything around you. Um, don't be entirely stubborn. Let your mind be changed. Let your goals, your aspirations change, because that's what life does to you. You may think one day you want to do this, and then 10 years down the road you're like, oh no, I don't want to do that anymore. So yeah, so that was a very long answer. I'm sorry,
But
Sean.
no, it kind of slaps you though. I've had those moments where it's like, dang, no, actually, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, the great thing about our journey is, if you want it, you can go get it. Only you can stop yourself from doing that. Um, uh, well, that was great. I needed that. Thank you, Sean.
Hey, I needed it too. Yeah, no, it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah, so and I assume you guys are on hiatus right now from production.
Yeah, they had to stop the last episode from filming. He couldn't.
Oh,
We
wow.
didn't
So
finish it
you
out.
so you filmed all the way up to the season finale.
Yeah, and then just stopped, and it messed up. Yeah, I think I'm interested to see how uh, how that can be worked out or whatever. But yeah, season finale is just not happening.
Yeah, I mean, Hollywood is always working and they're also creative, so I'm sure they will find a way to make it work. Um,
Definitely.
yeah, but I don't have any more questions for you. Is there anything you want to share with the world?
Well, two things. One, could I do a shout out to Sean O'Bracta?
Oh, yes, totally.
Hey, Sean O'Bracta. He's my best friend since preschool, and he goes to Northwestern. So just wanted to say hi.
He does, yeah. Everyone, we talked about earlier. Sean and I go to school together, and we were in the same dorm early in our college career. Did you have a second thing?
Oh, and the second thing, well, I was just curious about well, it kind of is actually two more things actually. One is the whole confidence on stage.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot of it when I was younger, but now even just fake doing it when I'm like something about the camera, I'm more settled down now. But even when I'm fake doing stage performances on camera, where we're doing like a theater episode, I kind of get more nervous. And also, I was
Yeah.
just curious, just by like, do you have any tricks to more confidence on stage?
Yeah, let me think. Well, I will first start off by saying that what you feel on stage is sometimes what I feel on camera. And I think it's only because when you're so used to either A, having an audience in front of you all the time, or B, just having the crew as your audience in front of you and, switching over, it can really throw you off in that moment. Because when I did my web series, I was thrown off. There was no audience. It was just me and the screen. And I'm like, what's happening?
That's funny. Oh,
Yeah.
cool to hear it's both ways.
Yeah. But if I were to give any advice, well, one, we always talk about in acting, especially on stage, is breathing. It's totally okay to have anxiety and to be nervous. All that is energy. And how you use that energy will propel your performance. So breathing, it's taking a moment to just find yourself. That's what I like to say. I heard it from my acting teacher. I was doing a Greek tragedy monologue, and before I started, she's like, find yourself, breathe, which means that you're grounded. I like to say that you own, I heard this from my movement teacher my freshman year, but every spot on stage that you stand on, you own it. Take control of it. No one can push you off of it. So just, she said, own the piece of real estate that you're standing on, which I really adore. And that's the same for film, but also just trusting yourself. And yes, there is an audience, but as long as you are being truthful in the words and in the script, and if you are landing your thought and landing your expression and landing, if you're doing your job, just don't worry, because the audience will receive everything. And there are ways to tune them out, and that's just if you're so focused on being truthful as an actor. So I don't know if that advice is great, but that's how I because I still get a bit of stage fright whenever I perform in front of a 300 person audience, and also just knowing that they're rooting for you. It's like they came to see you perform. They came to see you give yourself. There is a part of you in every single character that you play. So yes, they're seeing your character, but they're also coming to see Sean, or they're also coming to see Nolan. So just remembering that these people want to come see you.
Which I've heard that before for auditions and stuff, that they want you to be the right person and all that.
Yeah, they want you to succeed. Yeah.
But I never thought to like carry that over to the audience. But yeah, they don't want to see someone not doing well on stage. They're like, no, go for it, man. We're here for
Exactly. It's they're paying lots of money for you to perform. So they're not going to say they're not going to spend $60 and say, "Oh, I want this person to do bad." It's like, no, they're rooting for you, and you always just have to root for yourself too. And one thing I like to, it's a mantra that I learned from my choreographer, is that you have nothing to prove, only to share. And so when you go on stage and you get nervous, it's like, I don't have to prove anything to anyone. You know, I'm here, I got the part, I'm on stage. Now I'm just going to share who I am with the world and with the audience. And yeah, that's hopefully you found some merit in all of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
That's yeah. Thank you for that.
You're very welcome.
And the second thing, I was just curious because I've heard from Sean O about Northwestern and stuff, and I got to see some of, like, those buildings are the most amazing architecture and everything. Those I'm just curious, like, your Chicago experience. Is it cool to, like, go to school there? I always thought I was going to do that one day, like just go on the L and get some. Even though, well, it's Evanston, but it's close. Like, it's still close enough.
Oh yeah, it's very close. So I grew up in Evanston. And for the longest time, I didn't think that I'd go to Northwestern, because when I was in sixth grade, I just lived so close to campus, and I wanted to, college, it's like, oh, I just want to get away from home. But it was sixth grade, I was in a show there that was directed by my middle school teacher, who is also a Northwestern professor. And in eighth grade, I did another show there. It was a musical. And after doing 2 shows there and knowing the campus, especially the arts circle, which is where the performing arts are established, I thought that I had my fill of Northwestern. I'm like, no, I'd rather go away. But I was wrong. I applied early decision and I got in, and it's amazing. Chicago is so close. I actually think that throughout my time at Northwestern, I've gone to Chicago more than I did while growing up, which has been great. And, the Art Institute is free for students all the time with your student ID. And it's great. And the lake, I'm sure you've seen you've seen Lake Michigan before. And our campus is built on it, basically. So seeing that, and it's like 73 degrees out today. So after this, I'm gonna just take a peek outside. But it's beautiful. The buildings are amazing. The newest buildings that they've made have a view of the lake, which is phenomenal. But even with the people and just the landscape and just the professors and the academics there, I love Northwestern. Definitely come visit sometime. I'm sure you'll visit Sean. You'll see me there.
What's that? Kuma's or is that one burger place? I forget what it's called.
There's Edzo's and Bat
It's
17. Edzo's.
Edzo. Wait, is that the one that has, like, the more, like, 70s kind of burger vibe feeling place in it?
I think I haven't been there in a long time, maybe like a year. And it wasn't a place I went to a lot growing up. But I believe so. Anyway, the burgers are amazing there. That and Bat 17. And, like, I'm just shouting out places that
we went there. We went to, and they have some funky burgers there, I think. Bat 17?
Yeah, Bat 17. They have the best burgers ever, and they're so big. I will say that I've always left Bat 17, from like a 6:00 dinner, and I'm not hungry until the next morning, because if that's how much food they give you, and it's amazing. Yeah, but definitely don't be a stranger. We'll still be there for 2 years. It'll be nice to meet you in person. But yeah, definitely stop by. We'd love to have you.
Very cool. Yeah, it's been very nice talking to you.
Well, thank you, Sean, so much for speaking with me today. It was great talking to you, getting to hear about your life, and getting to share some of my life with you. Don't be a stranger, and I'll see you soon. So, and my sign off for everyone: tell someone how much you love them, be kind, and choose joy. Love you, Sean.
Hey, well, love you too, man. Nice talking to you.
You too.